Hello, and welcome to Beyond Common Business Secrets. Today, we are diving into how to trust yourself again after setbacks and struggles. So, I want to welcome all of you listeners here today with us. I'm your host, Tracey Watts Cirino. And if you're new to us here on Beyond Common Business Secrets, we love to dive into what's going on under the surface, like those topics that not everybody else is talking about that really help you gain clarity so that you can set yourself up to live your best life. So, um, in this episode, like why it's so important is we are going to dive into how to trust yourself again after setbacks and struggles. And if you've ever wondered how to transform that doubt into strength, this is the episode for you. And even if you have ever felt like you've lost confidence in your decisions or you found yourself second guessing everything, I want you to know, my friend, you are not alone. You are not alone. Life's big challenges, whether it's in business, relationships, or areas of your personal growth, they can shake and rattle our trust within ourselves. So, what you're going to gain in this episode is we're going to explore why we lose self-trust. We're going to give you some practical steps to regain it, and we're going to dive into how to stay confident even after life's big challenges and curveballs. So in this episode, we're going to uncover the hidden reasons for why we lose trust in ourselves. And when I say practical steps to rebuild self-trust and confidence, it's like even if you're in the thick of it, you're in this time and space where it doesn't seem like you're making any good decisions, or you've activated that fight or flight and you are in that moment of absolute freeze. We're going to unpack this and move forward clarity with clarity and boldness. So, why do we lose self-trust? Sometimes it's a betrayal, right? Sometimes it is a betrayal by ourselves or others. So when people break our trust or we quote unquote fail ourselves, it creates self-doubt. So common causes of um of this loss and betrayal can sometimes be a failed business decision or a financial setback. That often creates a lot of doubt. We consider ourselves failures. And I'm going to give you some tips on how to reframe this. But for now, let's just call it what it is. When we are using language that calls us a failure or causes us to feel like a failure, it is going to create a lot of doubt, and it's really going to erode the trust we have within ourselves. Other betrayals are, broken relationships, personal losses, or unexpected life shifts. Like sometimes it can be a medical thing that happens, and it feels like our body's betraying us. So there are a lot of forms of betrayal, both inner and external. And even it could be like a wrong choice that led to a really tough outcome. So, some other reasons that we lose self trust are just the fear of failure. Like experiencing a setback can shake our confidence in our abilities. So sometimes it can be where we are so afraid of failing that we don't have the confidence to move forward. So it's not even that we failed yet. We just have this like deep, this deep uh burning feeling that it's like, oh, I just need to get this right. It just I'm so doubtful that I know what to do. And oh my goodness, I have got to get this right. So that fear of failure can keep us crippled with doubt and in irrational fears that don't allow us to move forward. Um, External conditioning can be society, family, past experiences that shape our self perception. So it could be like all the external conditioning that society has thrown our way, that maybe your family puts on you, that maybe people in your family, everyone goes to medical school, but you've gone to medical school and you hate being a doctor. Well, okay, let's change that. What's a new thing that is better in alignment for you? Society can be that I know as a female, as a woman in business, it's like society has taught us that we often have to choose one or the other. Like we have to choose being a good parent or running a successful business. Or we get into a lot of this headspace about how to actually be successful, or oh, I have to work harder. I have to work harder. I have to outwork everyone. It's the only way I can prove my worth. So oftentimes our brain reacts to failure and fear. So we have to get back to understanding that our minds, just our minds, are wired for survival, which means when something doesn't go as planned, we often go into protection mode, which can lead to overthinking, self-doubt, and hesitation. This is just automatic things that happen because we're wired this way. And this can cause us to get into another reason why we lose our self-trust is perfectionism. We set these unrealistic expectations, makes us feel like we're never enough. So we're not smart enough, we're not good enough, we're not special enough. All of this stuff, it's like enough already. Another thing that happens is we ignore our inner voice. The more we dismiss our intuition, the harder it is to trust ourselves. Now, you'll often hear this called your gut, or what does your heart say, or what does your gut say? And I want to just cut through all of the different verbiage and terminology and stress the fact that you want to dive into listening to your inner voice, right? What is this inner voice telling you? That is going to be the best guidance for you. So, whatever you call it, it is your inner guidance system. So you want to start tuning into this. So these have been, some of the reasons why we have overthinking, is that perfectionism. We have self-doubt, hesitation. It's like we have been listening to society and what those conditional factors have been for so long that we don't even know what our inner voice sounds like. So those are all the reasons like that we lose self-trust. But what we want to talk through now is, let's talk about like reframing the past. So we can reframe it. And instead of looking at it like, oh, I failed or I made all these mistakes, what if you said, what did I learn? What was my biggest takeaway? How did I grow from that past experience? And win, lose, whatever, what will I learn from this future experience that I'm like standing on this holy jumping off point? So these are just, things. Another way you can do this is to um, really think through what it looks like to reconnect with your inner voice, right? What it looks like to reconnect with your inner voice. Another thing is to celebrate your small wins. Like every decision that you make with confidence helps build a stronger foundation of self-trust. And then you want to release perfectionism and self-criticism. Another thing that I find really works is to use what I like to call the what would you tell a friend? You often, if your best friend was in your shoes, what advice would you give them? Give yourself the same grace because often when it comes to ourselves, we are not gonna proceed with as much love and grace. And I want you to look at this through the lens of like if a friend came to you with the same problems, challenges, even quote unquote failures, what would how would you advise them? How would you be their most trusted best friend and give them advice that shows grace? Now, I've created a list here for you that are your steps to regain self trust. So, if you want to dive into what this looks like, it would be one, acknowledge your feelings, validate your emotions and experiences. It's okay for you to be upset with yourself that things didn't go as planned, but you want to acknowledge that you're upset. And as you start to work through this, you'll realize you're not really upset with yourself. You're upset with the outcome, like that you had this vision for what you wanted to happen, and then this is the reality. So when we align ourselves with acknowledging those feelings and validating that you have these emotions and experiences, and how would I work through this so that I can feel more of the feelings and emotions that I want to feel? Like, what is it going to take for me to feel good about this? Um, I oftentimes will like journal and write this all out, like every single thing I'm angry about. And then I do not allow myself to sit in that. I don't wallow in that. I then will turn it around to now, what will make me feel good in this moment? How can I turn this into a positive? What will validate my emotions, but also help me spin this in a way that makes me feel good about it? So that is just like something. It's like, hey, I'm gonna feel the feelings, I'm gonna feel the emotions, but I'm not gonna stay there if they are not in alignment with my ultimate vision for who I am and what I believe I want to feel and be. The essence of my being, of who I am and who I show up as in the world. So number two, you want to reflect on past wins. Remember when you made good decisions. This, I often will tell my clients that having a list of your wins and victories is such a good thing. So anytime you have a bad day, feels like you got kicked in the teeth, everybody complains, everywhere you go, people have like said cruel things to you, whatever that looks like. Whenever you have a day like that, you pull this out and you remember all of these great decisions you've made and all the good that you've done, and it can pop you right out of that mood so quickly. So you don't have to wallow and live there. Um, the other thing is, number three is set small, achievable goals. When you have suffered a great loss, like, failure of a business, bankruptcy, broken betrayal of a relationship, people, people stealing from you, hiring betrayals. There's a million things in both the business side and personal side that it could be, and we don't want to wallow there. But when you have suffered these great losses and you want to rebuild, the number one thing you need to do is to set small, achievable goals. So you want to rebuild your confidence step by step. So I have this like this list of 7 for you. They're not in any particular order because depending on what you're going through and what you're coming back from, you will pick and choose. But these are the 7 that you can use over and over again. So number 4 is to practice self-compassion. Treat yourself with kindness and patience, just like I told you before. When we talked about that reframe of what would I tell a best friend who suffered this same fate? Like, what would I tell that best friend? And knowing I would give such grace, do the same thing for yourself. This is how you practice self compassion. Number 5, strengthen intuition. Spend time in absolute stillness and listen to your inner voice. This is a muscle that you have to build back up. If you have been drowning out your inner voice, your inner guidance system with what society thinks you should or shouldn't do, quote unquote, air quotes, then you've got to develop this, right? And I know a lot of the people I work with when inside my programs and my one-to-one clients, we will often run your human design chart. And within human design, everybody has a strategy and authority. And when you know your strategy and authority, we can talk specifically about, are you the type of person that should be listening to your gut? Are you to ride the emotional wave? Are you somebody that is a soundboard and you need to hear it back? Are you someone that is supposed to follow your heart and your will center? When I say here, strengthen your intuition, spend time in stillness and listen. This covers the gamut of all of that. Listen to your inner voice. We all have an inner guidance system. Human design just happens to be a tool that can help us decipher the language that is easier for us as individuals to understand. Like mine is listening to my heart. When my heart wants it, I know it's in alignment. But if I am forcing it because someone else thinks I should, or it's a societal expectation, or even a family obligation, I know it's a hard no for me. It's just a no because I don't want to get tangled up into that mess. Every time I do that, I don't have a good outcome. I end up angry. And I like to live in a world that is filled with peace and understanding. And I use my anger like when I feel myself getting a little bit activated through anger, I know that that's me living in my not self. And that's like the human design language around that. So, um, if you would like more, like to go dive more into this, I have tons of past podcasts that are all about aligning with your human design. You can sign up to have a chart reading where we really dive in to your personal success strategies. So I offer a ton of resources and support in this area when it comes to aligning with your energy for human design. So check out the website. It's all at traceywattserino.com, and you can find it in so much of the show notes for all the episodes of Beyond Common Business Secrets. So, moving on to number 6, surround yourself with support. When you have suffered any type of loss, you need people that are your number one cheerleaders in your corner. Surround yourself with people that want you to win. Be around those who uplift you and believe in you, right? Even if you have suffered a great loss, surround yourself with those people who uplift you and see your value and celebrate how amazing you are, who know your worth. Surround yourself with those people. Number 7, take consistent action. So we often want to retreat and almost like, an animal out in the wild. We want to just like lick our wounds and kind of hide out. And trust grows through aligned actions, not just thoughts. So you want to move through your body on this. You don't want to just have a thought. You want to take aligned action and move through your body. So I want to share, like, it's not fear. Fear is not the enemy here. It's actually inaction. And taking small steps will rebuild that trust muscle over time. So when it comes to trusting yourself in business and leadership, both entrepreneurs and leaders, you need that muscle of self-trust to make decisions so that you can delegate and take bold moves when necessary. Trusting yourself isn't just personal, it's essential for your success because so much of this is about following that inner guidance, like really knowing intuitively what your inner voice is calling you towards. So that is super important. Um, Now to reset this, like these are ways that you can, slowly take action to regain self-trust. But I created a list of daily affirmations to rebuild your self-trust. So you are able to every day look at this through the lens of how can I, how can I do this and know that I am capable, I am capable and I am strong. I am resilient. I trust my intuition to guide me. My past does not define my future. Every challenge I overcome strengthens me. Every decision I make empowers me to more and more aligned decisions. I am learning, growing, and evolving every day. I choose to believe in myself. I trust myself to make the best decisions available to me in this moment. Every day, I strengthen my self trust. So, something like that. Sometimes I riff, these are the ones that we created for you. For those of you that are watching on YouTube, you can, screenshot this. It's super helpful. For those of you that are listening to the podcast on your favorite podcast channel, you can go to YouTube and subscribe to our channel, which is Tracey Watts Cirino TV, and you can find this right there. So I hope that you find this super helpful because one of the things that I have noticed with all of this is that even even when trusting yourself, even when we learn that trusting yourself is a journey, not a destination, that every step you take builds a stronger foundation. I have noticed that even celebrities and people that we look up to as gurus and different mentors, when they share their real life examples, we are able to see ourselves in them. It makes them more relatable. So I grabbed a few here to remember. So I want you to think about, have you ever struggled with self-trust? And if you have, I'd love for you to share it in the comments and share with us what helped you rebuild it. You can share it right on YouTube under this video, or you can go to our Facebook group, and it is Beyond Common Business Secrets, and share it with us in there. But what I've noticed is that, really amazing people that we look up to and see all the cool stuff that they've done. Like Oprah Winfrey overcame setbacks to build an empire by trusting her instincts, right? The door was slammed in her face so much, they told her she could never be an on-air personality. And boy, is she laughing all the way to the bank, right? Um, Sarah Blakely, who is the founder of Spanx, she took risks, huge risks, despite total rejection. And she believed in her vision when nobody could even see it. Like she had no one's attention. And she believed in the power of her vision and how this would help women feel great inside their clothes, when they're getting ready for work. And she had this clear vision. I often look to Mel Robbins. She is the author of the newest book, Let Them Theory. She talks about filing for bankruptcy before her speaking career even took off. Like, her and her husband had a restaurant business, and they were quite successful. And then they wanted to double down and go bigger. They took a huge risk, and it didn't pan out. The market shifted. They had some challenges, and they were in debt almost $1 million. And this is somebody who was, I think she was either just under 50 or over 50 when this happened. And she still was able to turn it all around and launch her very successful speaking. And she, I think, now has 3 New York Times bestselling books. So it's never too late. You're always right on time. You got this. You just have to remember that missteps, setbacks are part of life. It allows us to grow. It allows us to expand. One of the things that happened with me is that, we had a very successful in-person business, and I needed to let that go because my whole life shifted, right? I mean, a lot of people had this happen because of COVID, but my whole life shifted, my childcare situation. And I went all in from being a very ambitious, career driven woman to being a woman that was focused on childcare. And we didn't have the same opportunities in place anymore. So I had to make some serious decisions. So I had to let go of a very successful business that was tried and true. I'd been doing it for 20 years. We had figured out a methodology, a formula that worked for us. And I had to completely let go of being successful over here and start something brand new. And I didn't know if it would flop or fail, right? So since then, I'm happy to report that even in the thick of it, all the painful stuff that I've shared with you guys every step of the way, the thing is that, now I'm happy to report that I'm a 5-time international bestselling author. And our podcast is ranked in the top 5% of podcasts ever created in history. So following my heart and knowing that even when we stumbled and failed and had issues and, financial setbacks and all the stress, it still was worth it because I get to help people in a bigger way than ever before. So no matter what you've experienced in life, I invite you to look back and really define, like, where have you struggled? Where have you struggled? So my call to action for you to really not just listen passively to this podcast, but to really integrate and embody this work into the essence of who you are. I invite you to choose one of the self-trust actions and implement it today. And then let me know in the comments which one you're taking. Like, which one are you taking action on? And I'd like for you to join the conversation. Share your biggest takeaway in the comments of this video right here on YouTube, or in our Facebook group, Beyond Common Business Secrets. It's a private Facebook group. Just, let us know that you want to join, and of course, we'll approve you. So another way you can take action is you can work with me. You can learn to rebuild your confidence and success in life and business. A lot of the work I do involves women that decided to leave a corporate career behind. And then they were so excited to go into business, but then all of a sudden they're lacking confidence. They don't know where to begin. They don't know how it translates. So I'm a huge advocate in my coaching practice of helping women through the transitions. So reach out to me through my website, TraceyWattsCirino.com. And right here, subscribe and follow. Don't miss the future episodes of Beyond Common Business Secrets. We are in this together. And I just want to thank you for tuning in to another episode of Beyond Common Business Secrets. Keep believing in yourself. And even if you have those moments of doubt, take an action. Take any action. It doesn't have to be perfect action. It can be messy action. It can be messy. It can be the the best decision you have for that moment. It doesn't have to be that forever, I know I'm doing the right thing kind of thing. So just keep believing in yourself, keep taking action, and remember, you are more powerful than you think, my friend. And I will be here every step of the way cheering you on. As always, I hope you are having the most beyond amazing day, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.